We got another one coming in. Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm really happy that you took the time here on a Monday morning to attend my session. I wasn't too sure, being a Monday and school responsibilities, et cetera, what kind of a turnout we're going to have, but we're up in like the double digits. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join. I'm actually down here live in Virginia Beach. It's always awesome to come to Visti. So it's been a great conference so far. We really got full steam yesterday. And actually, I just had to get out of the first general session we had this morning. Ken Shelton was speaking. He was doing a heck of a job. I've heard him speak several times. Totally awesome. Hopefully some of y'all got a chance to listen to that as well and coming over from that. But I'm really glad that Visti, besides having the in-person conference, continue with the virtual conference option. I think it's very, very important, because I know for some people, especially on the far western side of the state, it's definitely challenging to get here all the way to the East Coast. It's about a 3.5, almost 4-hour drive for me from up Shenandoah County. But anyway, to make sure you're in the correct session, okay, this session is entitled Using Technology to Amplify Students' Ability to See Their Learning. If any time during the presentation, if you have a question, okay, I got Jude over here that's helping me. He knows a lot about technology. He's going to be monitoring the chat, and also, so if any questions come up or anything you want to type in the chat during that time, he'll be looking at that, and he has the permission to intervene anytime to ask, tell me there's a question being asked. But also, if you want to unmute and bring up a question, I'm fine with that as well. I mean, I want this to be very informal. I'm gonna go over some basic things, some resources, and then at the end, if you have time, there's a chance that you kind of explore a little bit. So it's not real interactive at first, but at the end, I'm going to try to give you enough time there that if you want to explore some of the resources I've shared, you can do that. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Some of you already know, it's great to see familiar names, but I'm Tim Taylor. It's hard to believe, but I'm actually in my 43rd year of education. Start out elementary school, 4th grade, taught that for many years, middle school, many, many years. So I got a special place in heaven waiting for me since I taught middle school. I coached for over 20 some years, and I've been at the district level as a supervisor of instructional technology now for too many years, I think, probably. But I really, obviously, I enjoy what I'm doing, and that's the reason I continue to do it. If you want to go ahead and follow along, right here's the bit.ly on this slide. It's bit.ly/Visti Visual Thinking. Feel free to go ahead and bring up the slide deck, because there are links on there, and you'll have an opportunity to go in and actually see the resources and kind of go right along with me, which I think will be awesome. But that's the other thing, is whenever I create a slide deck, I try to put as many links to resources as possible, so you have to worry about really trying to take notes or anything like that, and you kind of really follow along. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it here. All right. First of all, I don't know if you all heard this news or not. I'm totally kind of surprised it's not getting more recognition, I guess. But anyway, I was at VASCD last week down in Williamsburg, and I actually presented down there. But to me, this is huge news. But the ASCD, okay, school curriculum, and ISTE, okay, come January 1, they are now going to be united. All right. And I'm not going to click on the link to go out to the website, but in other words, this title on this slide will actually take you out to an article about this merging. The thing that I've run into for the many years I've been involved here in education, and then also getting into technology, is the bridging of technology and the instructional conversations. In other words, making sure that anytime we're having instructional conversations, technology is part of that discussion. What I've done is I've just taken a couple of quotes there from Richard Collada from an article that I read about this merger. But, actually, like he says, I think it is a reaction to reality that ed tech has become an infused part of all learning, and that the conversation around effective use of technology, innovation, and redesigning and rethinking education just can't be a separate conversation from how we are running and leading schools. And it was when I was down at the VASCD, we had a general session, and the speaker spoke about how technology is really in the center of what we're doing in education. We just really can't, avoid that. In other words, that's just the reality of the world that we live in today. And again, to me, what's so awesome about this, because again, doing what I've been doing for so long, the issue I ran into is this whole concept of silos. We had technology was a silo, and then instruction was a silo in itself. There was times where they just weren't speaking enough. Okay, and that's what this merger to me means. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things I kind of set goals for myself in my career, and this was one of them. Whenever these silos were broken down, where education and technology were always in the same room, helping make decisions. So to me, it's really becoming a reality now at the national level. Now, I've been very fortunate in Shenandoah County that me and Doug Culler, we co-manage our technology department. So we talk a lot when it comes down to instruction and also the tech side of it all, as I call it. But what's nice is we have an instructional department in Shenandoah County Public Schools, but now the last, I'd say good solid at least 5 years, but even for that, I've been involved with conversations. Before I would they would have like instructional meetings, et cetera. They may come and kind of fill me in later. But specifically about the last 5 years, I've been now invited to the table. And so instructional technology has been part of the instructional decisions that we have. And I got to really give a shout out to Gabby Ryman, who used to be our assistant superintendent. She's now over at Page County. She really made sure that I was at the table. But I'm also getting, Chad Hensley and Jennifer Proctor, who oversees our elementary and secondary educations. I'm still invited to these conversations. So we've really done a good job, I feel now in Shenandoah County, of breaking down these two silos into one, realizing that technology is so integral when it comes to instruction. All right, so I'm kind of curious if you want to put in the chat, and you can kind of check it out for me, but how many people, if you've heard of Project Zero's thinking routines, put in the chat, yes, no, whatever, if you have. Yesterday I did this session live, and I only had like one person in my session that ever heard of Project Zero's thinking routines. Judy, how many people have heard it? It was to say there in the chat. You have anybody?
One said yes.
You have one yes. Okay, cool. All right, so but Project Zero's thinking routines, and again, if anyone has experience with these, again, don't hesitate to put anything in the chat or shout out. But this comes from Harvard, and again, that is a link to the website right there, the actual title of the slide. But thinking routine is just a set of questions or a brief sequence of steps used to scaffold and support student thinking. Now, here are direct links to the website. So I'm going to go ahead and go out here now. Let me go and hide my floating toolbar right now. All right, and let's hope that the internet works down here at the conference. But first of all, overview, and hope everyone can see the website now. All right, but this is Project Zero's Thinking Routine Toolbox. I'm not going to read through everything that's on this website, but what they've done is they've created these types of thinking categories. Okay, and what you do, if you slide down the page, then you'll see these different, like, for example, these are core thinking routines. These are the ones they highly recommend you start with if you haven't really done much of these thinking routines. But if you go through here, you'll probably recognize some of these instructional strategies, okay? Like think, pair, and share. I'm sure most people have heard of that. It's a very common, thinking instructional routine you see in classrooms. I've seen teachers use, I used to think, now I think, see, think, wonder. So again, what we're doing here is we're starting on the instructional side. We're looking at good instructional thinking routines. Doesn't really involve technology. Okay, these are research driven. Okay, they're proven to be effective in the classroom if they're implemented correctly. And as I mentioned, if you scroll down through here, I'm sure you'll see some that teachers are currently using, And hopefully you're also, if you're in a coaching role, sharing some of these strategies with teachers. And then also on the website, what they've done is they've put them in alphabetical order. All right, so here they are alphabetized. And what's nice is they have them in English as well as Spanish. And what they've done is they've color coded them according to these different categories. And what you do is you go down through here, now you see them in alphabetical order. And so what happens is whenever you either click on them in the previous page I showed on the website, or you click on them here, once you click on them, what it does is it directs you to a page here on the Project Zero website. And then what they do is they have resource links, Spanish as well as English, and it will bring up a PDF document that will explain the actual thinking routine. And what's nice is it's a simple, most of them are just one pagers. Whenever the thing comes up that shows the details of the actual thinking routine that you have. So every one of those that are listed in alphabetical order, you'll have an actual page like this that it will go to. It will describe the actual thinking routine, give like a little bit of an example of it there that you can help you guide through it. But again, it's not too heavy or anything on the end. And I got to apologize for mine not being able to come up. Hopefully your internet on your end, you'll be able to actually take a look at the thing whenever you click on it. There it comes. Better late than never. All right, so there's this example. You just show like a little graphic, 3-2-1 bridge, give us a purpose, the application, when you use it and how you can launch it. Again, one page, what I call a quick hitter, does a good job of explaining it, okay? So again, we're starting with the instructional side here. All right, now I'm not gonna read through all these bullets, but again, what I think obviously we talked about the importance of students being able to make their thinking visible. There's a lot of ways they can do that. I've gone around in classrooms, I've seen, teachers have students most of the time like writing down how they're, what they're thinking. I've seen them do it obviously like in journals or just right there for their own personal needs. But the other thing that I've seen is also they'll do some group work with students. A lot of times, they may put up like, students write on Post-it notes. They'll have like the big Post-it sheets on the walls. They'll collaborate like that. So again, most of the time, those been on non-digital, non-technology type ways where they've done it. And that's all good. I'm not saying that's bad or anything. All right. But again, the importance is how can we make thinking visible? How can we get students to talk and show what they're thinking is very, very, very important. All right, now what I've done is I've collected some articles, and again, I'm not big on putting links to articles that are very, very long and lengthy, and I always hesitate to share too many because it's like, well, if you see too many things listed, you just kind of ignore them. But these are 5 that I feel are good articles. Again, they're fairly short to get right to the point. I think you find a value related to about these thinking routines and visual thinking in your classroom. All right. Now, the one resource that I'm going to use a lot when I share some examples here in a little bit is this page right here. These menu controls again. And this is Thinking Pathways website. I kind of fell upon this when I was a few months ago. And there's a lot of resources that go beyond just the whole visual, thinking. But if I go to educational resources, notice here's thinking routines. And when I go across here and look at these different categories, notice that these, you'll see most of the exact same thinking routines that you see on the Project Zero website from Harvard. So I was very fortunate to find this resource. And basically marrying these two resources together, I think it's a great resource that you can use with teachers and yourself when it comes to teaching. I teach graduate level courses at Eastern Mennonite University. And even though I teach online, some of these obviously can be used online as well. So I do some of these with adult learners, and also when, of course, I do workshops with teachers and everything. So again, great resource here. So between this site and the Project Zero, and these are 2 great resources. And like I said, I'm going to show you some example how I actually took resources in these sites and mirrored them together for some examples I'm going to share with you. Is everyone doing well so far? Okay. All right. So what I've done is, like I said, there's a lot of thinking routines. I just went ahead and went through, and I went ahead and picked these. These are all linked to the little one document information sheet from the website. But what I've done is I've gone ahead and taken these, and what we're going to do is we're going to take these then, and we're going to look at them then and how we can infuse technology to assist with students being able to share their thinking. All right, so, and this is the kind of thing I'm sure you kind of heard this. I'm going to say tech tools are worth 1,000 words or images. So there's so many tech tools out there. And one thing that we're probably all guilty of, and I mean, this is just kind of human nature for some of us, especially for on the kind of a bit on the tech or geeky side, is anytime we see a new tool, we get excited about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that, even our school division and anytime I've gone and visited others, there's a lot of times you'll see workshops and even some sessions here about how, the tool was kind of the thing that leads the conversation. Even with some of our coaching, I got to remind our coaches, it's not about really the tech tool, but, if you do want to introduce a new tech tool, it's like, how can you share with a teacher that, yeah, you have this great tool, but you got to come at it from an instructional side. So it's like, okay, you're doing something instructionally, that's great what you're doing now, but maybe can we take it to another level? Okay, if we infuse this technology tool that I can share with you. And that's exactly what we're doing these thinking routines. These are some of the more popular tools now that I see being used. I'm a big fan of a lot of these. Wakelet is a curation tool, and you'll see an example how I tie that into a thinking routine here in a little bit. Book Creator is another one. I actually taught undergrad courses at James Madison University for teacher prep for a while when TSIPs were still required. And Book Creator started out as an iPad app at the elementary level. But when I introduced that to my JMU students, again, juniors and seniors, it was one of their most popular applications they enjoyed using, because you can really make complex and very sophisticated books with Book Creator, even though it has a very easy elementary looking interface. All right, so that's one of them I really like a lot. Big fan of Padlet. We'll look at that here in a little bit. Of course, you got Jamboard from Google, Canva for Education. I hope your school division has those accounts set up. Adobe Express, another one totally free from Adobe, very similar to Canva. And it's very, very popular. You can get accounts for students as well as staff, totally no charge. And talking to both representatives from Canva for Education, Adobe Express, they tell me that they're always going to be free. What's nice is all the accounts that are created for K-12, they have an extra layer of filtering. So it's safe for your students to go in there. All the images and things that you're using is totally copyright free. So it's just a great resource. So if you do not have those set up in your school division yet, then you need to talk to your technology department, because again, it's totally free. Both Canva and Adobe will help set those accounts up for your school division at no charge. What's interesting in Chandler County is, again, Adobe and Canva are very, very similar. I found that once Canva came out, because Adobe was kind of first, once Canva came out, most of our teachers kind of left Adobe and kind of go more to Canva now as kind of their go-to source when it comes to images and looking for templates, et cetera. But so I kind of keep reminding them Adobe's there, because what they're doing is they're always adding new tools and functionality to these tools all the time. You can remove like backgrounds down images. Obviously, I think Adobe's still the best when it comes to creating video compared to Canva. But obviously, you can work with images, deal with video, also do websites. They can do so much. Definitely between what Google has to offer and those two resources, Canva and Adobe, are two that probably are the staples that we use the most in our division. And then Google Arts and Culture, I don't know if you got a chance to look at that. That is a great resource really for all disciplines. I did a workshop last summer, a couple of workshops at Laurel Ridge Community College on that. I'll show you how you can tie that into one of these thinking routines. And Google Drawings can be used for a lot of things as well. So again, a lot of these tools I'm sure you're very, very familiar with. Hopefully, again, just by looking at these thinking routines, you'll kind of see how they can be applied in that situation. All right, but again, this kind of goes back to what I've been saying here. Instructional strategies drive what technology is used, and I'm sure you've heard that. It's not about the technology first. Ken Shell just mentioned in his when talking during his general session, and our speaker we had yesterday said the same thing. So I'm sure it's drilled into you. It's all about the instruction, and then how can technology be used to enhance that or take it to a new level. All right, so really the next slides are me kind of going through some examples, kind of the structure that I did to set these up. And again, hopefully, the internet will cooperate. I'll get a chance to go out to some of these tools and just kind of show you some of the highlights of some of them. But what we did here is I went ahead and picked out a thinking routine. And the first one here is I used to think, now I think. Just kind of gave a general description of it. And then say, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at integrating Padlet with this thinking routine. And what I've done is, for some of y'all that may not be as familiar, or again, you're free to share this with any teachers or anyone you want to. What I've done is I just put some links to resources for this particular tool. Now the links, like for example, educational ways to use Padlet, doesn't apply just to using the thinking routine. It's just about using it in any way in education. So it's more broad than just looking at thinking routines. And then what I've done is, so we take this thinking routine, integrate Padlet, bingo, we got awesome sauce because it just takes it to a new level. What I've done then is that second website that I shared with you, what I've done is I've linked, okay, to the actual thinking routine on this website. And what they've done, again, they've done a good job of not getting too long or too much content on one page. It has a little graphic there. It kind of gives a little brief description. Usually you'll see a PDF that you can download and use when it comes to using this instructional strategy. Again, on this website, they really aren't referencing technology. That's where I'll kind of add it in on my example. But again, they show good examples of this routine. Again, most of the times it's just, handwriting it down. And again, this is not bad. In other words, there's nothing wrong with not using technology with these. One thing that happens with me being in my role as supervisor of instructional technology, people see me in a school, they say, oh, here comes Tim, I better start using technology. No, that's, in other words, I tell teachers, balance is important. There's nothing wrong with having students where they're writing out with longhand, writing on sticky notes, having them get up in the room and putting them up on different like poster boards they have if they're doing some of these routines. Okay, so even though I'm sharing the adding technology to enhance it, not all of these have to always be infused with technology, but I do obviously feel that there's value in doing that at times, or I wouldn't be presenting on the topic. Also, usually on this website, they might have a little video that kind of helps them walk through the actual thinking routine. So give us an example of it. And they may touch on a little bit of technology in that. But again, notice here, it's very, very short, sweet, to the point. To me, it's just a great resource. So that's what you'll see in all these next slides is I'll have a Thinking Pathways resource. And then what I've done then is I've went ahead and tried to put up an example, or at least the template of, how you can take this strategy then and then tie it in with the instructional tool. Now, again, Padlet, I think, is probably one of the most popular tools out there, and hope it will come up here. I use Padlet a lot. Every tool that I've chosen to share with you is at least a freemium tool. So that means you have a free version that you can use, and if you want to then purchase to get more functionality, you can do that. Now, Padlet, when I signed up for my account, people, it was a long time ago. I mean, it's probably at least 15, 20 years. I jumped on the Padlet bandwagon when it first came out. But boys, it come a long way. And just even recently, within the last couple of years, the functionality has really increased. But now the free version, I think, allows you to create 3 walls for free. What I usually do is I just recycle walls as I need them. Okay. But notice right here, what I've done is I've went ahead and created a Padlet wall. And what I did is I just create, there's different formats you can use with Padlet, but I just have a column here. I used to think, but now I think, and I just put some examples in. For example, I used to think that it was all about the teaching, but now I think it's all about the learning. Okay. Another example, I went and used the word tool man with my name, Tim Taylor. I always get the tool man thing. Okay. I used to think the silence had to be filled by repeating the question or asking a different question, but now I think the silence means every student is having enough time to think. I've said you see this a lot, especially you coaches out there, about having wait time whenever teachers ask questions. I know I really struggled with that when I was in the classroom. I never used enough wait time. Okay, so I've slowly tried to teach myself to do a better job with that. Of course, what's nice, again, with Padlet Padlet is, again, using a digital technology tool, going from where you doing traditional way where you're basically just writing down your answers. Now, when you infuse Padlet, you have the ability for students that they can use images. So in other words, Vicky, in other words, she used to think that the classroom, like rows of desks like this, but now we have this collaboration occurring with students, okay? So she shows her thinking, okay, using this routine by using images, okay? And if I go ahead and hit the plus sign, again, for some of you, I want to point this out, hopefully it will come up. When it comes down to adding anything to Padlet, it comes with this interface here where you can type the subject, which is what appears right here. And then you can write text down here. And there's nothing wrong with students, again, using text, writing. But again, that some students, writing might be their strong suit. Maybe they want to share something and they like to use images, okay? Maybe they like to use video. So Padlet allows that option. Obviously, besides the text, if I look here and I scroll across, what I can do is I can upload a file. I can go ahead and take a photo of myself, great for Chromebooks, obviously, built-in camera. I can attach a link to a resource. I can go out and search for an image. But I'm really surprised that a lot of teachers, for some people, they just don't want to hit this little ellipse or the 3 dots. And I tell people, anytime you're in any application that has 3 dots, go for it. Click on them 3 dots, because that will take you to a whole new ball game. And that's what happens here in Padlet. So you can also link other Padlets. Again, you can upload. These are the ones that you saw in these other little links, different options you have, but you can do a video recorder. You can also just record audio. So if a student wants to record their voice, they can do that. They can actually record their screen now, okay, in Padlet. They can also draw, okay. Now, I'm terrible in drawing, okay, but I know some students are good at it. It's a little different, obviously, doing it with a digital tool. But then you can also do an image search, GIF, link a YouTube video, etc. I use Padlet a lot in my courses at EMU. Now, this one's fairly new right here, okay, and I right away was intrigued by it because, like I said, I can't draw. Now, I don't know if this way it'll work here in real time or not. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. But I first saw this option really in Canva. If you go to Canva for Education, you'll see an option, or I think they call it an app, where it says text to images. And so I figured I'm gonna go ahead and try this thing out. And I said, well, I'm gonna type in something that's really weird, okay, just to see if it's capable of doing it. So what I did is, and it worked yesterday, but I'm gonna say squirrels in hot air balloons. Now I know it's totally off the wall, but I just wanted to see if this thing was capable of doing. Now, first of all, I thought, well, what's different about this compared to like going out and Google and just searching for something like this? And the results are totally different. In other words, if you go out and Google squirrels and hot air balloons, you really won't come up with as many solutions that comes up in Padlet. This AI, people, this artificial intelligence out there. Like, this totally blew my mind. All of a sudden, these images come up with all these squirrels and hot air balloons. Okay, so right away, I thought of those students I had in my classroom, and they were a little kind of, I'm going to use the word oddballs, but they just thought differently. And so I was thinking, wow, now with, they go out and they look for images they can use within Canva, Adobe, and I'm sure Adobe soon will have the same option, text to images, okay, or this I can't draw, whatever they want to call it, where they have this option where it actually goes out and finds content and it merges different clip art and images together. So this really blows my mind, but this is where AI is going. And I think these were actually looking like chipmunks, but that's okay. It's pretty darn close for squirrels and hot air balloons. It's amazing what came up. So I can easily click on one of these, put it right on the Padlet wall if I want to. So pretty interesting. So Padlet to me is just totally, I won't submit it on my wall there, but it's just an unbelievable tool when it comes down to what it can do. So again, there's an example, okay, of how I took a thinking routine. All right, let me go and close up this Padlet. Okay, integrated Padlet, and to me, it made awesome sauce. Okay, all right, so that's the first one. We're going right on time, about halfway there, aren't we? All right, next 4 C's. Okay, connections, challenge, concept changes. Again, I'm looking at Wakelet for this one. Okay, Wakelet, great curation tool. Hadn't been around as long as Padlet, but a great tool. Again, it's one of those that is advanced beyond when it was first put out. It was more just a way to put some text and just put some URL links, but now it's gone beyond. You can add more multimedia. Again, what I've done is I've put some resource links here that you can use, look at when it comes to integrating Wakelet in instruction. Again, here's the Thinking Pathways resource. Again, I'm not going to show them all now. I showed you the first example, but again, it will take you to that resource for that website, again, showing more just text-based. But again, there's usually a PDF or you can download to understand the thinking routine. It's important to understand the thinking routine, obviously, first before you start looking at the technology. But so looking at Wakelet, I'm sure some of you all probably read Where the Crawdads Sing. It's one of my wife's favorite books. I believe it's in a movie now. But what they did is they went ahead and did a novel study that really applies to this thinking routine. And so what they did is you can put a nice little graphic there for your collection in Wakelet. As I scroll down here, basically what it was asking was a question, okay? And then students could go ahead and put in links to resources to answer the question, but also, again, they use this resource. They went ahead and typed in then context that they got from that resource, okay? Now, again, I'm not sure most of y'all realize this. I know that I wasn't aware of it till last year, but anytime you complete a Wakelet, right here is a little link to Immersive Reader. So what they've done is they've integrated Microsoft's Immersive Reader into Wakelet. And I know some teachers were not aware of that. So it's really nice. Again, it's Immersive Reader from Microsoft. It's totally free. So now students have the ability, okay, anytime they're going through these Wakelets, they can actually have it read to them, okay? And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to come up for me. Okay, let me try one more time. Here we got it. Okay, so I have the ability here. All you got to do is it highlights the text. Notice there are options up here about reading preferences. You can choose a different language. Okay, you can turn on or off the picture dictionary. Okay, you can do it by Word or document when it comes to translating. All right, you have a different line focus. If I go here, I can actually highlight like nouns, okay, or I can highlight verbs, different colors. I can change the color if I want, okay. I also turn on when it comes down to breaking down syllables. I can come over here and change my text size, the font, the themes, etc. So you have different options. But what's nice is you just hit play.
Goal number 1, end poverty everywhere. The global rate of poverty is expected.
All right. And so again, a lot of people kind of miss that little immersive reader button right there within Wakelet now. So anytime you use text within Wakelet, you have that immersive reader option. So again, this is a great tool. Okay, I feel Wakelet to fit the 4 C's thinking routine. All right. All right. So that's that one. Go and close that one out. Is everyone doing okay so far? All right, we got a thumbs up for Jude, so we're doing well. All right, let's go take a look at See, Think, Wonder using Google Arts and Culture. Okay, if you have not checked out Google Arts and Culture, I highly recommend you do it. Google Arts and Culture reminds me of one of those things like you come into a classroom or someone calls you and says, hey, would you mind coming over and cover my class? Unfortunately, I couldn't think of a lesson plan. If you just go pull up Google Arts and Culture, there's something there that you can pull up and right away you can start teaching from it. It will be something on there that students would be intrigued by because there's so much content. There's a lot of interactive material on there. They have an awesome app that you can use either with any devices, Android tablets, iPads, phones that you can interact with using the camera on your phone. It's just an unbelievable rich amount of resources, and they're continuously adding content. All right. So See, Think, Wonder, thinking routine. This is an excellent fit from Google Arts and Culture. Again, here's your resources, Thinking Pathways resource. If I click here, take a close look. This is actually, again, the resource link I'll put in the middle for Google Arts and Culture. What's nice, and I believe it's the teacher guide, actually gives links to lesson plans about how you can use Google Arts and Culture. So this here is an actual lesson plan, a Google Doc. Okay, it actually, basically doesn't use the same term, See, Think, Wonder, but basically you have these 3 questions that follow that thinking routine. So here's a nice little lesson worksheet already designed for you. All you got to do is print the thing off or share it digitally. We use Cami in our school division. And what's nice is right here's the link. Okay, it will actually take you to the Google Arts and Culture website. And what's nice about when you get there to the site, it's broken down by themes, collections, You can actually look at things by artists. I know that our art teachers in our school division really love this. But what's nice here is what I can do is I can zoom in on this photo. And I've seen this before where actually it's so great. You can zoom in, but the quality of image actually stays the same. You can actually look at very small pixels when it comes to various different examples. It's just an unbelievable resource out there. And what's nice is it also has augmented reality options as well, especially reviewing through the, like I said, the app on devices. All right. So again, great example here using Google Arts and Culture. Again, they have designed lesson activities, learning activities for you. Super resource. Again, takes this thinking routine to the next level. All right, compass points using Canva. Again, like I mentioned, Canva is one of our probably major go-to when it comes down to images and templates in our school division. Compass points is a thinking routine that I haven't seen used that often, but I think it's an excellent one. Resources here, Thinking Pathways resource. What I did for this one, I just went ahead and just searched there Canva, and when I searched, boom, here's a thinking routine template that you can use for compass points. All right, so obviously you can print this off if you want students to be able to write on this. But again, what you can do is you can share it digitally, and students can actually come in here within Canva or really with any other. You can actually pull it into like Google Drawings or whatever, and students can actually just type in these areas. But with the compass points, you have your north, south, east, west, and what N for north stands for is what you need to know when it comes down to whatever topic they're looking at. Right is what you're excited about when it comes to the topic. So students share that whenever they're thinking. Okay, stance or suggestion is to move forward. So what do they need, they feel, to move forward, whatever they're studying. Okay, and then W is West is for worries. You know, what are they worried about when it comes to whatever they're studying? So I really like this because it really kind of covers all areas of what the student might be thinking about or when it comes down to what they're studying. So again, here's a nice little template right there in Canva. Again, Canva is so rich in so many resources. Okay, here we get into Adobe Express. Description there, resources. Again, what I've done is I actually put a link to Adobe Express for Education. If you don't have the account set up, you click on that, it'll take you right to the website. It'll give you instructions that you can share with your IT department on how you set the thing up. Again, we go ahead and tie Adobe Express into this Peel the Fruit. And really what Peel the Fruit is, if you look at the resource, to me, it's mind mapping, okay? You know, graphic organizers. There's a lot of great tools out there to use for graphic organizers and mind mapping. You know, Google Drawing has a lot of templates out there that you can use. Padlet can even be used for mind mapping. And that's one thing I want to point out. You know, I selected, you know, specific tools for these thinking routines. There's obviously more than one technology tool that can be used with these. All right. So think outside the box. In other words, many of these tools can be used for a lot of these right here. It's not like this is the only fit that they have. So again, what I did is I went into Adobe Express, did just a simple search, you know, when it came down to mind mapping, brainstorming, whatever, and here's the template that came up. Again, something that Adobe Express, this can obviously be printed off if you want to fill it out by just using handwriting, but also it can be digitally filled out if students want to. And what's nice is you can pull it in, and I've also seen where students might pull in an image to put in whenever they're looking and brainstorming about a topic. You know, you have your main topic in the middle, and then just think about, okay, you have a main topic, so what questions do you have? So you kind of branch out, introduce new questions you may have, and then when you're looking at that, then what also other questions or thoughts come to mind whenever you bring up these new topics. These are great to use. I teach a PBL course for an EMU. This is great for when it comes to inquiry, when students are going through it, having these mind maps. So whenever they're in inquiry or using inquiry to look at certain topics or certain project, this is a great way for them to show their thinking, learning, and questions they have throughout that process. Connect, extend, challenge. Okay, this is when I see a book creator being used in this situation. What I've gone ahead and done here is I have Animals Have Needs. This is a little book that thrown together. This actually goes to looking at living things, I believe, like first grade, that could be used as a resource. Close my toolbar here. Your Book Creator come up again. What I love about Book Creator is the interface. When you actually come to create your book, it's the simplest interface I think I've ever seen when it comes to a digital tool. When it comes down to creating content, of all the ones that I've used, and so it's not intimidating to students. Now, again, I just have a free account, and I believe it's still the same. That with a freemium account of Book Creator, you're allowed to create up to 40 books for free. Okay, and keep them in your library. But with the free version, you can't have students collaborating on books. If you do buy the premium version of Book Creator, you can actually have students collaborate on books. This is also a great tool for doing comic books as well, or comic strips, because when you go to create a new book, it gives you some templates you can use, and some of them are for comic strips or comic books. So this is a book like Animals Have Needs. Okay, again, addresses a science SOL. You just basically to go through here. It has the option where it can read it to me, very similar to Immersive Reader. Here, what's nice is, again, it's a multimedia textbook that students can create, or a teacher can create for their students. Here, I just embedded a YouTube video. And the SOL talks about basic needs for animals: food, air, shelter, water. Like teacher create a template where students have to watch the video, and then they can come over here and they can add pages to the book that the teacher asked. So what do you know animals need? Share some things on this page. So after watching the video, they can come in here, and the various tools they have within Book Creator, they can draw, they can insert images, okay? They can put links to resource, et cetera. So this is maybe what a student may come. They would go out and search and say, hey, animals definitely need food. They may bring in a apple icon here. Okay, this image here, this is a rough draft of water, just by drawing by freehand. This might be a shelter like a cave. All right, so just kind of highlighting some of the things that animals need to survive. And then, of course, you turn the page here. What new things did you learn about animals? And probably one of the most abstract things of those four things is that, animals need air. And that's one thing that young students probably struggle with the most. So maybe they took pictures of like clouds, but of course they can also type the word air. And then finally, the last thing is like, what are you wondering about, or do you find puzzling about what animals need? And, maybe a student comes up, well, they all need air, but, fish is a living thing. So how are they supposed to breathe if they're underwater? So that's maybe something they're wondering about. Okay, and also it talks about animals need food, but it's like, well, do animals cook food? So in other words, they can go out and search, and they found something like this. So again, by using the tools within Book Creator, they can easily answer these questions beyond just typing something in. They can bring in images, actual links to websites, or also links to videos, etc. Okay, and again, it has the ability to actually then read the textbook to them. But again, Book Creator is just an awesome tool. The interface is so easy to use. I don't know if I'll be able to get a chance to get out here real quick, because one thing, again, some people are not aware of when it comes to Book Creator. I get out to the edit mode, and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. When you come in to sign the Book Creator, of course, you have the student and teacher mode. Let's see if I can get in here. All right. Again, what you can do here is, again, you see some books already here in my library, but when it comes to a new book, it's pretty simple. So here are the templates. Okay. And I have seen teachers actually have students create books here and they actually print them out. It is awesome whenever students see an actual book that's been printed, they created, even if they did it in the digital format. All right. But I'll just go and click on Square. But one thing that, again, that's kind of hidden, kind of like I showed you, that I can't draw option in Padlet, and also the text to image that's now in Canva. Okay, when you come here and click on plus, again, the interface is just so simple. That's the reason I really like it. In other words, you have your media where you can pick these basic things here. You have very simple shapes you can pull in. But now when you click on more, they have these different apps that you can put in Book Creator as well. And notice that they have Canva. So now if you click on Canva, it actually within Book Creator takes you out to Canva. And imagine having all those templates and resources and images now that students can use, create like a book cover. Okay, so it's great that you go in there, search on Canva, create an image, and it automatically will put it right on the cover of your book. Very, very cool. You can also insert files and embed other things. That's how I'm embedding my YouTube video, okay, on the book. So again, a lot of people go to the media, but check out that tab more and notice how I can connect Bitmoji, Google Drive, Giphy, and there's other things. And on the administrator side, we're actually piloting the premium version right now. On the admin side, you can control what apps students have access to. Because notice that there's more apps that we can add right here. So you can control that on the admin end. But again, Book Creator, one of my favorite tools. Okay. And all right, so those are all the examples that I had. I wanted to kind of wrap up within about 45 minutes. So I was dang close. All right. So how do you see technology integrating with these thinking routines? So what I've done is I just put a link, and I'm not going to make you sit here for 15 minutes and have to do this. Okay. But what I did is I made a Padlet wall. All right. And so what you can do here is, again, just kind of have a big, large sharing area, because I always want to see what other people are doing. Hopefully it's some time. If you don't do it now, later on, it'd be great if you would come in and say, okay, I went to the Project Zero website. I'm looking at these thinking routines. Okay. Oh, this is a great technology tool. I think they can enhance or take this thinking routine to a new level. One that I just happened to see, I just put on there an example, is, and again, what I did is I went ahead and posted, I put a link though to these resources. So projecting across distance, again, this is a thinking routine. Okay. And what it is like, here's a routine for considering how a topic, event, or issue impacts not only one's own community and country, but also other communities and countries far away. So what I did is, okay, that's the thinking routine. And I thought of this resource here, and I'm sure you've heard of this before, but it's the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I've used this website a lot for doing little mini PBL projects, just to introduce students to PBL, to use this as a resource, what I call is a quick PBL, where they actually have like an hour and a half to put together a quick little PBL project. And what I do is I use this website where they have these 17 goals, okay, again, global goals. But again, I guarantee you, if you take this website, students can look at these 17 goals and probably find something like, hey, in my community, okay, climate action is definitely something that we can see affecting our community, okay? It might be hunger, all right, zero hunger, poverty. So for example, I do zero hunger, I click on more info. This website, okay, has an unbelievable amount of resources that students can use, look at it from a global perspective, but also like, okay, I can see this also is very applicable in my local community as well. Okay, so it covers related topics. It gives you an overview of what this goal is all about. Okay, it gives links to so many resources, a lot of great infographics you can access on the topic. Okay, different events that you can actually click on. Okay, that shows things that have already been held and possibly could be coming up. Different publications on the topic. Okay, so a lot of great resources from this actual website, Sustainable Development Goals that the UN put together. So again, that's just an example that I used here on the Padlet. But again, I'd love if you all want to take the time to go ahead and share some things yourself. Okay, that's all that I have. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and escape out of that. Is there any thoughts? Don't hesitate to unmute and share your thoughts. Throw something in the chat. You can ask about anything you want if you want to. I got a few minutes here.
If you want to take a look at the chat.
I'm gonna pull it up now. Okay. First of all, the attendance was off the charts. I really appreciate y'all coming in here and joining me today. It's awesome. Yes, the recording should be on Sketch. What I did is I put the link to a PDF. And again, people, you have permission to share this thing whoever you want to share it with. Okay. And also, I love coming and visiting other school divisions when I get a chance. I love doing workshops. I'm going to other school. If anybody wants me to come and pay a visit about anything, the tools shared, thanking routine, anything along that line, I'll be more than happy to do that. But I do appreciate the comments, and I do appreciate y'all taking the time to sit with me and listen to me this morning. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, good. Some of y'all are some new resources for some of you. All right, I'm glad I inspired some people. Okay. Well, that's it. In other words, again, I hope you take some time to maybe share something on that pad. It really won't take that long because I really like to go there and get some ideas myself. Again, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your VISTI virtual conference. Okay. Again, I think it's a great opportunity, and what's great, you can always go back and revisit these. And again, I'm sure I'll be seeing some of you all down the road. It's great to get to connect to some of you all, virtually seeing some familiar names. But hey, I wish all of you all a great holiday season. Be safe out there. And again, thanks for all you do with all of our kiddos, because hey, man, we're doing the most important jobs in the world right now. So you all enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your time. And again, I really appreciate spending time with you this morning.